and then we're going to go into our SketchUp file. You'll see I have a lot of stuff in here. This is just my base file. We'll get more into all of this later, my tabs later. It doesn't really matter for what we're doing right now. So we want to go into File, Import, and just choose our new block. And you see it brings in everything that we had just drawn. What I like to do is seeing our axis points. Let me hide this. I like putting the house a corner right there on our access point. Just a nice place to start the house on a 0, 0. Just helps keep things clean and efficient. So now that we brought this in, I'm going to hit Shift X to explode. And really I want to run my my face command that we've previously gone over. I'm going to turn this into a group, and I'm going to double click or triple click all this, and you see all of the geometry was selected minus our columns that we created, which we'll get to in a second, and I'm going to turn that into a group. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these columns just to the side, because we're going to get to that in a minute. I want to get the base set up first. Now what I want to do is put a generic 12-inch foundation to build our house on. So I want to make a copy of this up 12 inches. I'm going to hide this. And so I want to come in here and I'm going to run my clean command, which gets rid of all the erroneous stuff that I don't need from my foundation perspective. And I'll pull this up 12 inches. Now if I unhide my piece that I copied up, I can actually come back in here and draw in my porch, and I'm going to hit Shift H to hide the rest of the model. And really where that happens is if you come into I believe it's under Model Info. So if you go to Window, Model Info, which I have mine set to I, you can go to Components, and you can see that there's several options of fade similar components, which means if you have, say, 10 components of something and you edit it, you'll see all 10 being edited. But if you click hide, you'll only see the one instance edited, and then when you're done editing, you'll see all of them reappear. And this is more of a generic thing, fade rest of model. So when I'm editing a group or a component, the rest of the model will go away. So if you see, if I hit Shift H, which is my hotkey that I created for fade rest of model, it toggles this on and off. And you can see that the rest of the model will hide and come back on. And it's just a simple way of being able to edit things really quickly. Sometimes you want to reference the model, sometimes you don't. So it's just a great way to be able to do that. And to set that up would just simply be under Window, Preferences, and you can do a quick search of, say, hide, and you can see that there's View Components, Edit, Hide Rest of Model. Now you can see I have Shift H assigned, and that's how you would set it up. So with that set up, I can now come back into my foundation. I'm going to push pull porches down 6 inches. This may be a project specific distance, but a just good rule of thumb is a 12-inch foundation with a 6-inch step into the house from porches, and porches 6 inches step up from the grade. Just a nice way of building it. So now if I come into this layer, I'm going to get rid of these pieces because I don't need my porch lines anymore. What I do need are my columns. So I'm going to select this and turn this into a group real quick. Get rid of this, turn this into a group. And now I have my basically my exterior wall outline. I'll turn that into a group. I'm going to come back to my CAD file, and what I want to look at is the beam height of my ground floor walls. And you can see right here, it's a 10-foot beam height for my ground floor. So when I go back to SketchUp, I'm going to offset 8 inches for my 8-inch wall. I'm going to delete this interior piece, and I'm going to pull this up 120 inches for my 10-foot walls. Similarly, I'm going to select all this. This is a great tool called joint push pull. I can actually push pull several items at once. I'm going to turn all these into groups, explode, and so now I can join this to this if I wanted to, but I have all these columns that, again, looking at my AutoCAD file, are really going to turn into this, so we'll get to that in a second. But what I want is to finish these columns. I'm going to actually push these down 6 inches and then joint push pull these up 126, which I need to do similarly over here, down 6. Pull these up 6 inches. So now I have my column sitting on my porch. I think we're actually missing one. Let me come back to my AutoCAD just to verify. I might have still erased this one, but this is we can just fill it back in, an 8x8 column. So we'll come in here, simply draw 8, we push pull this up, and easy enough, turn it into a group. So those are those columns, which we would then, again, coming back to our CAD to reference, what I want to look at is the spring line from finished floor is 5'8", and then top of arch will be 2'4". So then going back to my SketchUp, I'm going to draw this down to my floor line, push it up 5'8". I'm going to turn this into a group. I'm going to show my model this time, and now I can do an arch, which this should be 2'4", and looking down here, you'll see that the length verifies it's 2'4". You can see my segments are set at 12. This is going to be a more of a prominent view, so maybe I want something much nicer, say 48, so nice smooth arc being shown. I can copy this over and then hit 2x, and that allows me to array. Push pull this through, and there you go. Now let's check the side elevation, and you can see it's similar. This one will be 5'6" with a 2'6". So we'll come back here. So we'll go down to this, which was 5'8", so we know we need to go down 2 inches, and then we will draw our perfect half circle. Again, changing our segments to 48, and we will push pull this through, and we will turn each of these into its own group. Now we can use our solid commands and join all this together, and voila, we have a perfect arched wall. And eventually we'll come back and join this to the exterior walls, but I'm going to leave that off for right now. We can look at the rear. We're going to go 5'4" to our spring line for this piece back here. So we'll go down to our finished floor, push this up 5'4", and then we will draw our perfect half circle, turn this into 48, push pull through, turn that into a group. And similarly, we'll double check this one. Dimension, this one would be 5 foot. So we will push pull this all the way to our finished floor, come underneath, come up 5 feet, and then draw our perfect half circle. Turn this into 48 segments, again, just to keep very super clean looking geometry. And array this over. We'll push pull through, turn that into a group. Now we can combine these pieces all together. And so there you go. So you can see we're quickly starting to get the geometry built up. The other piece I wanted to show, we were talking about these columns and how this would work. So what I want to do is I'm going to do a quick polyline around to get me the profile of one of these columns. So you can see I just basically did a half profile. I'm going to W block this out. And then I'm going to come back, and let's pull, we're going to copy these, Control X, come into our model, Control Shift V to paste in place. I'm going to take these walls we just created, I'm going to push them to the side, say 50 feet just to get them out of the way, and push these back, which were 50 feet. And then I know we had pulled these up 2 feet, so I'll put those back in place, and similarly 2 feet back in place. And they need to come up 6 inches for our base. Now what I want to do is come and go File, Import, and we're going to grab our profile we had just grabbed. I'm going to explode it and rotate it, and I'm going to cut it. Because now what I want to do is, by having made these a block inside of AutoCAD, when I bring them into SketchUp, they actually automatically create components in SketchUp, which is a very helpful tool. So you'll see that if I create this, and I'm going to draw a line up from the center, just so I have a center point to deal with, and I put this right here in the center because that's where we pulled it from. I'm going to grab this outline because that's the size of what we needed, and let's do a quick follow me command, and you'll see that now we had just built a column pretty quickly. Let's give ourselves a reference to bring this column back down to. And so there you go. So that's a quick way of building columns. And now this one's actually pretty similar. So we're just going to grab this column. We're going to place it inside of here. And this time we could have done the same process of, copying what the profile was, but I know it's the same thing, and I'm going to show you a different way of how you can stretch things. So you just want to grab the pieces that need to move and just pull and stretch them, and then we'll pull all this up to match the height of what we need. Sometimes going to X-ray mode makes it much easier, and then we could just erase out the pieces we don't need, and there you go. A quick way of building columns within SketchUp, and really there would be a beam that would occur that we would need to draw. And to do that, we would just draw, the shape of our beam, and then we can draw the path that it would follow. And there you go. There's your beam that it's sitting on. This one was actually a little bit bigger. This one was different from our CAD file. it's 4 inches. So to do that, we would simply right click and say make unique. So now it's going to be no longer matched to this one. It's its own component, but it is still a component, because if I edit this one, you see that this one will update as well. So now that we come back here and pull this over 4 inches, and there you go. So there's your column and beam system. You would just do the same thing back here, and again we would be able to copy this into our group and paste it in there and join it, and you can see you get nice clean geometry. This is not the system we're going to move forward with, but I just want to show you how that works in a way that you can do different type of column systems. So we're going to delete these because we don't need them anymore, because we just want to stick with this architecture. I'm going to save. Important to save. Control S is your friend. Use Control S often and a lot. So now second floor, what we want to look at is this distance right here. We know that our second floor will start at 12 feet. I'm not sure why that's off. But we will go with what it says it's supposed to be. Oh, that's why it's off. I didn't quite nail it. There we go. So we're going to start our second floor here, and again we're going to do a similar idea of we're going to create a foundation and walls, but the foundation will essentially be our flooring system, and drop that down 2 feet, and our walls up, which will go up from 12 to 21.4, so we're going to pull those up 9'4". So you'll see we'll move this up to our finished floor, and then we know we moved this up 12 feet and over 150 feet. So now we know that this plane is sitting right here. That's what we want. We want that plane to sit right there, right across our second floor. And so we're going to hit Control C to copy this. And what I want to do is come into this group, and we're going to push this down 2 feet. And so you can see that's sitting perfectly on our walls. And then we're going to hit Control Shift V, which is a copy of that plane. And now I'm going to come in here, I'm going to offset 8 inches. Now again, you can get much more specific to your model. As you can see, I did 8 inches, which is what all of this is, but this side here technically is 6 inches. So we can come back in and clean that up right now. So we know that this wall is in 2 inches, and this wall is in 2 inches, and we're going to push pull this up 9'4". So there you go. There's our quick massing for this house. We have our foundation, our walls, our porch walls, our second floor system, and our second floor wall system. Next we'll add in the roof, and we're just going to add in more and more details as we move forward. So you'll see how that all starts falling together.